Good morning. That was lively, thank you. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading. We are a regional church serving communities north of Boston, and with our online outreach, individuals and families far-flung from New Hampshire and New Mexico to Arizona and vacationers in Maine, everywhere in between. My name is Al Murray, a member of the worship arts team, the technology team, and the reentry team. We really do keep hoping to be able to disband the reentry team, but not quite yet. But we welcome you. This is the final Sunday service of our 2021-2022 regular church year, our traditional farewell and flower communion. It's been a year of change, perseverance, and yes, triumph. 2022 was a year that started with upheaval. It transitioned to excellent step up and do your part services led by Katie McRae-Lucas and the staff, especially Sally Lieberman and the laity. It changed again to a strong but temporary ministerial presence with Deborah Weiner, and now it is offering us, let's call it, a growth opportunity, in this case, dealing with staffing changes almost across the board. Somebody should tie Melissa to a chair. Speaking of staff, if this is your first in-person or online visit with us, please reach out to Melissa Martin, our Member Services and Volunteer Coordinator. 2021-2022 was a year in which we started services remotely. Everyone was remote in our own homes. And then, following the trends of the still ongoing pandemic, we changed to having remote services originating from here with a few worship leaders in the building. Then to hybrid services, in person and online, with registered attendance. Then, when conditions became too risky, a short period of remote again. And then in-person, hybrid, masked, then masked optional, then masked mandatory. Change, perseverance, and, oh yes, triumph. On this final regular Sunday, the reentry team has agreed that conditions are looking favorable enough that we offer you a mask optional service. Sorry we weren't able to give advance notice, but it's my joy to offer this to you here now. If you are willing, and with deference to the wishes of your neighbors, please feel free to unmask. Another, perhaps temporary triumph, but a triumph nonetheless. Enjoy it. In this year of change, perseverance, and triumph, one thing has remained constant: our commitment to our Share the Plate program. We share half of our weekly offering with like-minded, worthy organizations, not because we can afford it, but rather because it is the right thing. Our June partner is the Young Adult Revival Network, YARN. YARN is the only Unitarian Universalist organization focused solely on ministering to young adults. For more information about YARN, you can go to their website at www.uuyarn.org. And if you are watching online and want to donate, go to our website and click on the Donate in the red menu bar near the top of the homepage. And if you are here in person, there will be a collection later on. Again, in this year of change, perseverance, and especially triumph, we welcome you.
Thank you so much, Al. My name is Deb Weiner. I am your Transitional Ministry Associate. I do want to note that later in our service, we're going to be having our beautiful flower ceremony And if you have brought flowers and you have not yet put them in a vase, I want to invite you to come up and do that during our opening hymn so that they are all up here together. For right now, our opening words come from the Reverend Kathleen McTeague. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope, is hallowed by our presence here together. Please join now in our chalice lighting words and our children's affirmation. Those words are printed in your order of service and will appear on your chat if you are joining us remotely. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek. We are Unitarian Universalists, the Church of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands.
Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to welcome all of you into this full church on this June, our last Sunday in June. And we are maskless here in the choir loft, most of us. We're so happy to have the choice. And I want to thank the choir for all of the masked singing that you have done over this past year. It's not as easy as it looks. Let's all rise and sing in body or spirit. Number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Appear all the same. Good morning. I'm Katie McQuaige-Lucas, your ministerial intern, and my pronouns are she and hers. Please join me in a prayerful moment in lighting the spark. And so, as we do each week, we light our red candle of community, as we are a community of memory and of hope. And on this Father's Day, we honor those who nurtured us, who protected us, and who guided us, whether they were parents of our bodies and blood or parents of our spirits. We also honor the absences and the wounds, and we look ahead with hope, knowing that someday, in some way, we too will be called to mentor and to renew the legacies we were given. Today, we also light the white candle for freedom, as we remember that on this day in 1865, Black Americans in Texas grasped the freedom that had so long been denied them, emancipation that until that moment had been mere words on paper. May we who are free always remember our responsibility to widen our freedom to include all people. And may those of us who are still struggling for liberation find power and strength in our resistance until our dreams of freedom become our reality.
Good morning. This is the time in our service for all ages. And this week it is to thank Sally Lieberman for her church leadership and teaching here at UUCR. At this time, I'd ask Sally to come forward. And any children or youth who wanted to bring a flower up to Sally can do so now. I'd also like to invite any former or current RE committee members, Religious Education Committee members who'd like to join us here on the chancel. Theo Noel, unfortunately, is not able to join us today. Tay Rhodes, an RE committee member, is going to speak on his behalf.
Good morning, everybody. Sally. My name's Tay Evans Rhodes. I've been a member of this church for 7 years, where I've seen my daughter Ingrid grow with Sally as a part of her life. Thank you for everything, Sally. It's been a pleasure learning with you and growing with you. And as Will said, Theo can't be here today, so I'm going to read his words. Theo says, I have had the good fortune of serving on the religious education team here at church, including Janae Tichy, Tay Rhodes, Will White, Chris Duchette, Lynn Champion, Robin Matsky, Melissa Plowman, Kevin Higgins, Leslie Raymond, and Leah Richardson. Sally's work and love have touched us all. Our gratitude for all that Sally has brought to our community cannot be expressed adequately, but here we would like to try. Will White, Astrid Puff, Brooke Martino, and Robin Matsky have some remembrances to highlight the breadth and depth of Sally's ministry with us. Will?
My name is Will White, and my pronoun are he, him. I've been a member of the Religious Education Committee for the last 6 years and have had the honor of learning from and working alongside Sally to nurture and support the community that is the Senior High Youth Program, or SHIP. Sally is magical. I can't take credit for saying it first. I want to amplify it because it can begin to explain who Sally is as a person and as a religious educator. When Sally started at UUCR, it was a time of great transition in SHIP. The minister, intern minister, interim director of religious education, and volunteer youth coordinator, who were key advisors and contributors to the SHIP community, had moved on or were in the process of moving on. The following summer, after a year of being a SHIP advisor, Sally convinced me that whatever I could bring to SHIP as the lead advisor would be enough. And it was. Because of Sally's mentoring of myself and all the advisor volunteers, as well as her relationship with 3 amazing and talented interns over the years. Together, we held a safe space for our senior high youth to be together in community. A community that could be as serious or as funny as they wanted to be. A community that could plan and lead a worship service or spend more than an hour coming up with games using nothing more than a beach ball. To you, Sally, we offer this gift of a backpack, a symbol you have used several times in your years here. It is not new. It has been cleaned and repaired with spare parts and is ready for the next part of its journey, as you are now preparing for the next part of yours. In it, we offer you gifts to use symbolically or physically to carry with you on your path. Inside are many things from many different people. To name a couple, there is a book of memories from your high time here, including notes from some of those who you have touched. A beach ball, ready to provide hours of fun and activities. And local honey to sweeten your journey and strengthen your immunity. And now Astrid Puff will say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Astrid, and I wanted to say a few words about the pleasure it has been to work with, talk with, and just in general be around Sally. Sally, you are an incredibly kind person. You inspire me daily to care deeply about others and check in with the people I love. I have worked for and with Sally for the past year as my first job, and I have learned so much about working with others and being flexible during difficulty. I really appreciate all that you have given of yourself and your talents to the people around you, and I know for sure it has not gone unnoticed. I think I can speak for everyone here when I say that we cherish your caring presence and ability to help others. You've passed on so much knowledge and love to the children and others in this church. Thank you so much for all that you've done. And we offer Sally this flowering plant, which we know will grow with her care and love, as do all of us, the children and youth here in the Reading Church. And now I would like to invite up Brooke Martino.
Morning, my name is Brooke. So 3 years ago, I took a literal leap of faith and walked in the doors of UUCR. I had no religious background. I couldn't describe to you what it meant to be a UU. All I knew was that it was an accepting religion that would welcome me with all of my imperfections. I had come home. Inside that home, I met many people, but few of them took me under their wing the way that Sally had. By the time I joined, I had already graduated high school and aged out of all formal religious education opportunities at UUCR, but that didn't stop Sally. Within my first month, she had convinced me to attend what was essentially a welcome session where I could ask questions, learn the history of our faith, and deeply consider if this was my spiritual home. From there, she quickly introduced me to other young adults, many of whom had grown up here. I felt out of place being among people so familiar with this faith, but she assured me that they would welcome me with open arms, and that they did. I have met some of my closest friends here, and without that push from Sally, I'm not sure I would have been brave enough to pursue those relationships. As a young adult trying to navigate undergrad and then grad school and then employment, I often felt like I took up space because I didn't know where I was going. Sally has made a truly profound impact on my ability to see that I can take space and run with it, whether I know where I'm going or not. She has worked diligently to bring our small group of young adults together, to provide a place of connection, community, and love. Young adults are often overlooked, and Sally always made sure our voices were heard, not just in small groups, but within the congregation as a whole. She has taught me, and I am fairly certain my peers as well, that we have a voice, we should use it, and that we belong here. You have filled our community with an immeasurable amount of love and knowledge about what it means to care for one another. From our youngest children to our oldest adults, I know for certain we will all be taking at least one lesson away from everything you taught us during your time here. Thank you, Sally. And I would like to invite Robin Matzke up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Metzke. I'm not going to make it through. Former chair of the ARIA committee and current governing board member. So far, we have heard about the phenomenal work Sally has done with our children, youth, and young adults. And yet, to only focus on religious education of our youth and young adults does not truly encompass all that Sally has brought to our congregation. The director of Lifespan Religious Education works to make worship accessible to everyone. And that is truly what you did, Sally. One of the most visible ways is the time for all ages. But there is so much more. Sally worked with the staff to have the church open for Wednesday sanctuaries. She supported learning opportunities for adults prior to and throughout the pandemic. Sally has done untold amount of worship support, especially over the past year. Sally has been a vocal and ardent member of our reopening team and worked so hard to ensure that we could meet safely in person. We have safer ways to be in community thanks to Sally, whether folks are in a classroom, in the sanctuary, or even just working in an office. Sally, you are a gift to this congregation. The new director of religious education will have a strong foundation to stand on and rebuild from because of the groundwork that you provided. May you continue to make grace, understanding, and safety as accessible to others as in your chaplaincy as you've done for us here at UUCR. And here's a little bit more honey and some hot sauce to make sure you're keeping it sweet and just a little spicy on your road ahead. Can I give you a hug? And now I'd like to turn the mic over to Sally.
Okay, so wow. Thank you, everybody. there's so much to be thankful for today, and there's so much to mark. And I just got to tell you all that there's a bunch of my family sitting here, and they've heard me talk way more than you guys have, and I have to keep talking. So I'm going to take up a little bit more time because there's a lot to say today, and I'll try and make it brief. And the first thing I need to do is say thank you to everybody. And I'm going to read off script. Thank you to Theo and our committee folks of the past and the present and the future. Thank you for your long, loving commitment to children and youth and to your dedication to creating opportunities and planting seeds, never knowing what's going to root, but keeping the faith that your work is meaningful and life-affirming. You welcomed me here with warmth and trust and supported me at every step. We took chances together, explored, experimented, and I believe that together we reached new understandings of what is essential in creating inclusive and brave spaces for children and youth. Thank you to our volunteers of the past and present and future who plant seeds of curiosity and kindness with our learners of all ages, and thank you to our incredible staff who share the work of all that we do here. I want to ask you all who will be here next year to take care of the staff that will returns in the fall, because they are creating new space with you all. So think about Mark, and think about Astrid, and think about Trevor, and think of Mary and Melissa, and support them well. Thank you, I know you will. To members of this lovely community, friends of all ages who make time and space to share your joys and sorrows, your love, your care, your frustration, and deep listening. To all of you who seek and value intentional community centered on ethics that reach for justice. And from all of us, I share a collective deep gratitude to our families and our caregivers who trust us and trust this space as shareable and accessible and something you want to keep on your family path. You are truly our future. Thank you, UUCR. You've been a great gift to me, and I have learned so much from you. I'm going to talk just a minute more. And I'm staying on script because I don't want to forget what I have to say. Because I want to say goodbye and do it well. And I need to tell you a story about something magical that happened to me a long time ago. I was driving home from Western Mass, and I found myself in the middle of the woods in the dark, and it was snowing really hard. I couldn't see in front of me, but I knew the road enough to know that I was alongside a really deep ravine. And on the other side of that two-way road was nothing but a tall hill. So I was on a two-way street in a really wild snowstorm in the middle of the woods, and I couldn't see anything to go forward. And I couldn't stop, because if I stopped, nobody would see my car. They wouldn't see me, because you couldn't see anything. And I felt a warmth spread in my back between my shoulder blades, and it felt like a warm hand. And I kept driving. And it wasn't long before I saw a lit up ranger station. I was able to pull into that and found a really kind soul who, with flashing lights, led me out of the woods. I found a hotel, I checked in, and I stayed safely there overnight, and I went home the next morning. Since that time, a long time ago, there are times in my life when that warm feeling returns, and it feels like a hand on the middle of my back. And at times in my life, when I'm not sure what I need to do next, when I'm making a choice, I have felt that hand, not all the time, But I know now when I feel it to just pay attention. And I used to think actually that that warm hand was telling me that I was about to make the right choice. But now I think that warm hand tells me to just keep going and to trust myself. And I think it reminds me that I'm not by myself and I'm not in this alone. So I knew this year I was making a change. I knew I was going to do that. And the warm hand came, and then I told you all that I was leaving, and you all extended so many warm hands to me with affirmation and trust. And I leave with a big warm hand on my back, feeling like I don't know what I'm doing next, and I don't know where you all are doing, what you all are going to do next, but we're moving forward. And chances are it's going to be good. So thank you very much. And I hope that we all find magic in our lives. And whether it's a warm hand or it's a message of a different kind, I hope we're open to it, we listen to it. That is the awe and wonder, folks, that informs all of us. And so with that, I wish us all trust in ourselves, trust in each other, and faith in what comes next. Thank you. I love you. I carry you in my heart. I will miss you, and I hope to see you again sometime. Thank you.
And this is why we offer Kleenexes. Tissues are at the end of all of your pews. What a beautiful celebration of Sally's time with us. Thank you for all of the wonderful stories. Sally, we would like to offer you, before we sing, best wishes, and also we want to offer Katie and Deb best wishes on your journeys from all the musicians of the church, from Trevor and I, on your journeys following your rainbows, and also sincere thanks for all you've done to help make this a wonderful world. Let's sing.
Today is our first flower communion, a very important celebration for Unitarian Universalists. Communion is a word that means sharing, and before we do that, it seems pretty important to share what the roots of this ceremony are about. Norbert Čapek was born in 1870 in a country far, far away from here called Czechoslovakia. His family was too poor to send him to school, so they sent him to live with his uncle Victor in Vienna, Austria. He had a curious mind, and in school he learned about science and psychology and asked many questions about religion.
So it isn't too surprising that when he got older, Norbert decided to become a minister. In the city of Prague, Czechoslovakia, he started a Unitarian church, and people from many religious backgrounds came to that church. The people who came were frustrated with the teachings of their former religion, and they were seeking something new and meaningful. They wanted to find a church that taught the values they could believe in. They also wanted to be part of a spiritual community and did not want to face the world alone. That was 3 years after the end of World War I, a terrible time that had destroyed many homes and lives. Norbert Čapek wanted to do something special that would bring people together and would remind all people, but especially children, that there was beauty and hope in the world.
One day, Dr. Čapek looked outside his church window and saw the flowers that were growing in his garden. These flowers reminded him of the significance of holding beauty and hope in our own lives. And so he created the flower communion. He asked everyone to bring a flower with them to church. People placed the flowers in a vase, and Dr. Čapek and the congregation blessed them. Then, after the service, as people left the church, they went to the vase and each took a flower, different than the one they had brought with them when they arrived. What did this flower communion mean? Well, think about the messages that flowers hold. No two flowers are the same. Together, the many different flowers form a beautiful bouquet. This bouquet would not be the same without each individual flower.
And it's the same way with us. This church would not be the same without each one of us. No matter how different we may be, we are all beautiful in the love that which is sacred holds for our universe, and we are all part of the great bouquet of creation. We are all, in the end, different, and yet united together as one congregation, like a beautiful bouquet would be. Now, I told you that Dr. Čapek introduced his flower communion in June of 1923. The ceremony was introduced in the United States by Dr. Čapek's widow, Mary, in 1940 at our UU Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And so here we are, almost 100 years after the first celebrated flower communion, and we have gathered again to celebrate it today.
Now, this story does not have a happy ending. People liked the ministry of Norbert Čapek, and they liked the flower communion. Čapek's church in Czechoslovakia became the largest Unitarian church in the world, with over 3,000 members. His message was powerful. The people should be free, and they should care for each other, and they should work together to make the world more loving. But something happened that threatened the flower communion. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis took control of Czechoslovakia. Dr. Čapek's church was considered dangerous by the Nazis, who did not want Dr. Čapek preaching the loving Unitarian message that all people are born with worth and dignity. The Nazis arrested him and said it was too dangerous for Norbert Čapek to be allowed to live. He was sent to a terrible place called Dachau, a concentration camp. But Norbert Čapek's legacy lives on. The last thing he wrote was, "The goal of religion is to create strong, confident, active, creative, loving persons who are happy with themselves and with nature, humanity, and the spirit of life."
His death was tragic, but the beauty and gentleness of his flower communion lives on as a powerful symbol of love, justice, and truth. It takes many flowers to make a bouquet, And it takes many kinds of people to make a church community. It takes all of us to make our community strong. Despite our differences, there is so much that we share. Unitarian Universalists share a covenant together. We share a promise with each other to welcome everyone and to work hard to truly appreciate each other. And we covenant, we promise to work together to make the world a better place.
This is where Deb jumps in. And the reason that Deb jumps in is that she has realized that the words to the next piece of this, which I thought I got into the order of service, I didn't. And so Katie and Astrid are going to read these together, and you will experience them that way. Carry on.
So I suppose we will share in these words by imagining that we are speaking to one another, and Astrid will stand in for all of you, and I'm sure she'll do it beautifully. And so these are the words that will bless your flowers, and they're adapted from the words of Norbert Chapek. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on this congregation, all of whom are messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us that amidst our diversities of knowledge and of gifts, that we are one in beliefs in the goodness of all people.
May these flowers remind us of the values of friendship, acceptance, and of the enduring value of our connection to each other.
May we cherish our friendship as one of the universe's most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or change our relationship one to another.
May we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do good work in this world.
In the spirit of all that lifts us, promise in this promise in this world of all that is good and holy, we celebrate this blessed time together.
Now, in a moment, we will invite everyone to come down the center aisle to select a flower that is different from the one that you brought with you to take home with you. As you come forward, we hope that you will please think about the story that we've just heard from Astrid and Katie. Think about your flower and how it is unique and beautiful in the world, just like you. And hold in your heart all the ways that you are also special and the gifts and talents that you have. We ask that you return to your pew using the side aisles. So you come forward through the center, go back through the side. If you don't feel comfortable coming forward today, you may ask someone nearby you to pick up a flower, or Rob Craig Coman will be right up here, and he'll be watching. And if you signal him, he will deliver a flower to you. So we have options. And if you forgot to bring a flower with you to contribute to these bouquets, don't worry, we've got you covered. We brought extras just for you. So we're going to start with the choir, and then please come forward so that people of different ages, from different places, different dreams, we are going to celebrate together all that we are. And in doing so, let us, as people of one faith, honor the individuality of each of us and the rebirth in our hearts and in our world of spring and soon summer. So, choir, please come on over and let our celebration begin. And then we will sing together when Mary signals us. Just beautiful, and thank you so much to Mary and Trevor and our choir, and to all of you. And you have your flowers. And so, as you hold those flowers, I offer you this blessing. We bless this communion with these words, which are adapted from the writings of Norbert Chapek. In the name of the mysteries of the universe, which implants in the seed the beauty of these flowers and instills in the hearts of all people the ability to love one another. In the name of the many wise religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of peace and justice and equality. Let us renew our resolve to move forward together in the spirit of love. In this holy resolution, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family and that one spirit unites us. May we strive always for a more joyful and meaningful life. Amen. And now, my friends, we invite you to come forward once again, if you are so moved, to light a candle of joy, of sorrow, of loss, of celebration as music fills this space.
Our reading this morning is Turning to One Another by Margaret Wheatley. There is no power greater than a community discovering what it cares about. Ask what's possible, not what's wrong. Keep asking. Notice what you care about. Assume that many others share your dreams. Be brave enough to start a conversation that matters. Talk to people you know. Talk to people you don't know. Talk to people you never talk to. Be intrigued by the differences you hear. Expect to be surprised. Treasure curiosity more than certainty. Invite in everybody who cares to work on what's possible. Acknowledge that everyone is an expert about something. Know that creative solutions come from new connections. And remember, you don't fear people whose story you know. Real listening always brings people closer together. Trust that meaningful conversations can change your world. Rely on human goodness and stay together.
Well, here we are again. More celebrations, more valedictories, and yes, more goodbyes. We have gathered to celebrate the beauties of a long-anticipated, much-needed spring. I also don't want to miss noting two other important observances, which Katie mentioned earlier. It's the first national holiday for Juneteenth, marking the official end of slavery laws in this country, and that is a big deal. And yes, it is definitely Father's Day to all those who are or yet may be fathers, to all those who are in those roles of parenting and nurturing, whether for your own children or others who you love. Thank you for your love, your patience, your care. The world needs more people like you, and we are grateful. Through all that is our life, we've come together in this sanctuary and online, and we've sung, exchanged flowers, and today expressed appreciation for your much beloved departing director of Lifespan Faith Development. The winds of change continue to blow, and last week and this, that includes also recognizing and thanking your soon-to-depart ministerial intern turned summer minister. These roots of connection go down deep, and just like the things that are planted in our gardens, if we are lucky, the blossoms that come from the seeds and bulbs planted long ago start in time to bless us with their glory. As I hope is already evident, and not just on the day we hold the flower ceremony, congregations are a lot like bouquets. Each stem, each bloom is different from all the others, each one unique. So it's a good day to be celebrating the beauty of these flowers as we observe so many celebratory elements. And there is, of course, more change because this is my final worship service as your transitional ministry associate. In August, the Reverend Dr. Laura Solomon will be here, and when you gather in September, she will be in this place where I now stand. And that will be another marker on your journey that indicates that you are a congregation making transitions during this time. For some, this is a time of adventure, and for others, it has been disquieting and maybe even a little crazy-making, a journey into the unknown and perhaps the mysterious. I don't know about you, but I will say that I like the unexpected and the unknown most of the time. I do often wake up wondering what exciting things are going to happen, but I also acknowledge that there are days when I want my yogurt and berries for breakfast, just like always. The coffee and the newspaper, the very familiar, because it can bring comfort. Rebuilding a Sunday worship presence here at UUCR has been about the balance between those two things, recognizing that establishing regularity and reliability is important. And with it, I sincerely hope that there's been some thought-provoking worship that may have encouraged some deeper examination of who we are as individuals, who you all are as a congregation, and what might come next. There's a balance, familiarity and comfort, the unexpected, and venturing out into the unknown. The writer Annie Dillard has commented on how sometimes you just need to let things rip to discover what's there. And I think many of us know that in letting go and moving into the unknown, we dare to glimpse the imagined, the possible, the future we wanted to build, but might not have known how to pursue. In my time with you here at UUCR, I have had the opportunity to observe yet again your deep love for this congregation. You may not all agree with one another. You certainly don't think in the same ways. However, this place, which draws people from many communities, is one where family connections are valued, where music lifts our minds and spirits, where inspiration and challenge to our beliefs can guide us and offer support for our darkest hours. All these things are planted in this ground, watered and pruned and nurtured with sweat and tears and love. This has been an uncertain and difficult time for many of you, and yet, as in the song, "Come, Come, Whoever You Are," every time I have met a new person or someone who took time off from this congregation and then came back, it has been a blessing. In some cases, a homecoming, and in others, a reconnection at last to a new spiritual community where love can once again bloom. People want to know others and to be known. And every one of you, I want you to understand that I and all who have served this congregation, we see you. We appreciate you. I also want to say this, and as the humorist Dave Barry would say, I am not making this up. You have here a world-class ministry and staff team. Every person has worked through this pandemic that will not let go of us, through the challenges of the last several years, and they have done the very best that they could. They have hung in there with you, with this community, and I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to work with them. I urge you to take time to appreciate them and to say thank you. Maybe even write them a note like Bill and Carolyn Grace would have done, because they deserve it. They have labored, and by the way, they too deserve a little summer break. But the dedication of the staff to this church is powerful. I can also say without hesitation that your lay leaders have done everything they could to support this congregation and help it to not only survive, but thrive during this time. They have clocked more hours than I or any one of us can imagine. They have listened, struggled, worked hard to hold UUCR through these times of change. Whether you agreed with them or you didn't, I want to ask you to acknowledge with appreciation that they have done the very best that they could. And maybe knowing that will allow you, even if you have been hurt in these transitions or frustrated or disagreed with what happened, to say thank you to them for all that they have worked to do. Through these last 6 months, it's been my opportunity and my honor to travel this road with you. I have represented both new visions and, for some, the loss of what you may have loved. And I know that it has not been for all of you the sweetest of times. It has been my honor to be with you in your struggles and your pain, in your meetings, in times when maybe you needed a new perspective on some program. Thank you for this. Together, we have been able to explore the unknown future and to dream again, as writer Robert Dale challenged, to embrace the excitement dream rather than just a breakfast dream. So, here we are. It's a time for me as a transitional religious leader to get out my walking stick and travel down the unknown road to a new destination. This sojourn has been a beautiful opportunity to see you again, 7+ years after I last was with you. Through this time, as we have together let it rip, torn open the fabric to see what lies underneath, we have not forgotten the ultimate call to be good to one another, even when frustrated or uncertain of what comes next. I am reminded of the importance of being good to one another as experienced in Kurt Vonnegut's God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. Maybe you know it. Vonnegut writes of his greetings to newborns, but it could also be a prescient reminder to all of us. Hello, babies. Welcome to Earth. It's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. It's round and wet and crowded. At the outside, babies, you've got about 100 years here. There's only one rule that I know of, babies. God damn it, you've got to be kind. Kindness can get us a long way in these times. It eases transition. It makes smooth the uncertain road on which we travel. Transitional religious leaders like me serve congregations in liminal times, and it's been an unexpected blessing to be invited back to UUCR to travel this journey with you. Now, as the season changes, my departure is at hand. Those flowers that we received earlier in the service signal the real arrival of the season of summer. It's the time for music and picnics and celebration for not only planting, but growing and harvesting, and for seeing what comes next. And as you make this journey, I implore you to hold on to Margaret Wheatley's words, for they are the best guide you may find for you to not only survive, but thrive in style. Invite in everybody who cares to work on what's possible. Acknowledge that everyone is an expert about something. Know that creative solutions come from new connections. Remember, you don't fear people whose story you know. Always listening always brings people closer. Trust that meaningful conversations can change your world. Rely on human goodness and stay together. The path to tomorrow, friends, will include not only flowers, sun, and rain, but trees with roots that go down deep. Explore what is possible during this time. Celebrate it. Learn from it. And as you explore, try to let it rip. And then, my friends, it will be time to dance. blessings for this journey.
In this year of change, why do we take an offering? We do it to show our commitment to ourselves, our ideals, our church community, and our June Share the Plate partner, YARN, Young Adult Revival Network. YARN, again, is the only Unitarian Universalist organization focused solely on ministering to young adults. If you are watching online and want to donate, go to our website and click on Donate in the red menu bar. If you're here, you can either look at the QR code in the order of service, or in a moment, I believe the ushers will pass the plate around. But if this is your first time with us, or you are one of our special guests today, your presence here is more than a gift enough. Please let the plate pass you by. For the good of us all, the morning offering will be gladly given and gratefully received.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Melissa Martin, your Member Services and Volunteer Coordinator and your Interim Congregational Administrator. My pronouns are she and her, and I will speak very quickly. This is our final segment of our congregational life until we return together again in September, but this is just the beginning of a new season of our actual congregational life, one that you can read about in our summer service brochure. You can take one home today. They're at both doors. Those of you online can look for the electronic version in our newsletter. Katie and I are looking forward to deepening our connections with all of you this summer. Speaking of the new season, as Deb mentioned, we are eagerly awaiting the arrival of our new minister, Reverend Dr. Laura Solomon, in August. She sent a video message for all of us, so please look at our website or Facebook page or in the newsletter to watch that video. This week in our programming, our Buddhist meditation group will continue meeting twice a month for the summer, thanks to Ken Flanders. There will be online offerings this week of the lunchtime chat and our young adult small group ministry. And this Saturday, June 25th, we are walking in the North Shore Pride Parade in Salem, and we would love to have you joyfully march with us. You can sign up in the newsletter and let us know that you'll be walking with us. Next Sunday is the kickoff for the summer service season, so please take a look at the brochure. And I wish to invite Lorraine Dennis, our governing board president, to join me for a moment, and also you too, Deb, come on up. At this time, I wish to extend our most sincere gratitude to Deb for filling in as our worship leader for these last few months. Deb, it's been so helpful to welcome someone who's already been so familiar with our congregation in so many ways. So on behalf of the staff, we wish to thank you for your ministerial collaboration and for the many ways that you've helped us to continue creating dynamic worship this spring. Your presence has allowed us to shift and redistribute our enormous workload, allowing glorious, much-needed relief. We have appreciated your interest in our ministries, your pastoral presence, and your love for music, ritual, and a good social hour. Now, Lorraine will share a few words on behalf of the governing board.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to recognize Deb for the important work she has done for us in the last 5 months. The governing board asked her to oversee worship and work collaboratively with our staff to create engaging and memorable Sunday services. Working with the pastoral care team, she provided a strong pastoral presence and coordinated several rites of passage, including an excellent and warm memorial service for Bill and Carolyn Grace. We have heard consistent positive feedback on worship and also on the assistance Deb provided to various committees and groups in congregational leadership. Deb, we will miss you, and we are grateful for the experience, skills, and dedication you brought to your role. We are ready to meet our new minister and work together to prepare for a bright new future here at UUCR. Thank you so much.
Well, it's the last Sunday of the year, and we're going to still sing, even if it is 11:30. Let's rise as you are willing in body or spirit to sing "Life Calls Us On." You have the text is in the order of service, the lyrics, and so and I'm sorry. Just sing along as it becomes familiar to you. Let's go.
Turning on the road.
let us join together in the chalice lighting words found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
Friends, life is short, and we have little time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. So I pray you, be swift to love and hasten to be kind. Go in peace, go in love and blessing. Amen.